So, is it that time in your life yet? Do you feel like your family is complete and you and your spouse want to not worry about changing that? Well, the decision can be difficult, but the recovery doesn't have to be. After your vasectomy, you gotta get testes. Doctors usually recommend a jockstrap and ice for your boys to help with comfort. Well, testes is the best of both worlds. This is for the man who is out on the go and needs to get things done. You get the ice packs from the freezer, strap up, and saddle up. The packs give you at least 20 minutes of comfort, even if you're just sitting around watching the game. And most important, guys, no wet spots. Put on the jockstrap under your briefs and go about your day. They come in 3 sizes, medium, large, and extra large to get your right fit. Now head on over to testes.com. That's TEST-EEZE.com. TEST-EEZE.com. Your wife is going to thank you for the snip, and your testes are going to be thanking me. Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, wherever, guys. While you're there, go and rate, review, subscribe, then head on over to the Dayspring Discussions Facebook group or Twitter account and join in the discussion. Don't forget dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com if you have any more lengthy questions or comments. And of course, you can find me personally, Slim Dayspring12 on Twitter and Instagram. Well, hello everyone. Hope you all had a great week and are enjoying your weekend. It finally happened. It is the 90-degree heat here in Austin, Texas. It finally hit. It's gotten to that point now where I don't think you should be outside past 10 a.m. unless you're planning on going somewhere where you can get wet, like the pool or a water park or something like that. It's kind of what it is. Like yesterday, I went out, I made sure I got the lawn mowed before 10 a.m. Otherwise, I knew it was going to be too hot for me to be out there, but have spent a little bit of time at the pool this week. Went to work a little bit as well. Overall, somewhat enjoyable weekend, guys, but hope you're enjoying it, so let's get right into it, shall we? Alright, for those of you who don't know how it works, guys, throughout the week, I and you post things on the Twitter and Facebook group, stories that you like, want to talk about, main stuff, whatever. We comment and discuss it on those social media sites, and then I hop on here usually on the weekends, once a week, to talk about my favorite stories from this previous week, things I like, don't like, excited about, etc. And then, of course, you guys, in return, continue the discussion on said topics. But that's how it's going to go. But before we do that, I always like to start off with what's got my interest. And usually these are things that either I'm watching or reading that, I feel like may be noteworthy to mention to you guys. So starting off, of course, on Wednesday, Disney Plus premiered the newest Marvel series, Loki, starring Tom Hiddleston. Third series we've gotten from Disney Plus. Usually I wait till the series is over and then I give when the season's over and give a season review. And I'm going to do that again. That's what I'm going to do. I will say, though, I did enjoy this first episode. I know a lot of people did. Before the Marvel show started, I said the one I was most excited about was Falcon Winter Soldier because the Captain America films have been my favorite of the Marvel films. I did like Falcon and Winter Soldier over WandaVision, but I still enjoyed WandaVision. To be fair, I was not that excited about WandaVision, and I thought it ended up being great. Loki, of course, is one of my wife's favorites. I think the intrigue and the mystery and all the things surrounding this show are going to be very interesting, so I think it's going to be good. I enjoyed the first episode. Fire back, let me know what you think about the first episode of Loki. And another thing that I started watching, I know I'm kind of late to the game on this, but I was browsing on HBO Max the other day, and I've heard things about this show. It's originally from Cinemax, I guess, but it's called Warrior, and it's based on the writings of Bruce Lee, allegedly. But I've heard people talk about it, so I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. It's on HBO Max. The first two seasons are on there, and I'm hooked. I am so hooked on this show. I love it. The thing is, though, I watched only one episode so far, and I am already hooked. And it's been a couple days. I've had a little bit of a busy week, so I haven't had a lot of time to just, watch things, I would say. But I've only seen the first episode, but I really enjoyed it. For those of you who don't know what it's about, it's set during the 1800s in San Francisco. This Chinese immigrant comes over looking for his sister. He's a badass warrior, gets caught up in kind of the Chinatown gang wars, and there's political intrigue as far as all of San Francisco, some sex, some violence, all the good stuff is in there. But I love the first episode. I can't wait to watch more of it. I just hope I get the chance to do that. But if you've seen Warrior, let me know. Don't spoil it for me, though, okay? If you've seen all the first two seasons, don't spoil it for me, but let me know what you think about Warrior on Cinemax/HBO Max. And speaking of things that I have yet to have the time to get to, this last week, Volume 3 of Batman Earth 1 came out, written by one of my all-time favorite writers, Jeff Johns. I know that name kind of sparks some controversy in fan circles these days with the whole Justice League movie drama surrounding it, but he's still a great writer and still enjoy what he does. The Earth 1 series that DC has done, I felt like was kind of their answer to Marvel's Ultimate Universe. Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, The Ultimates, stuff like that. I haven't enjoyed them as much as I'd like. Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, not really a big fan of. I know they did a Teen Titans one that is actually pretty decent. The 3 Superman volumes, I did not like Volume 1, but I enjoyed Volume 2 and 3, which is kind of weird. I've even gone back and tried to reread Volume 1. It just doesn't do it for me, but I like Volume 2 and 3. But the Batman ones, all 3 volumes, have been written by Jeff Johns. I've read the first 2. Obviously enjoy them because I enjoy Jeff Johns' writing. Volume 3 came out this last week. I have not got a chance to get to it. It's one of the things I want to read, hopefully within the next couple of days. But it's been so long since I read Volume 2. I've read Volume 1 multiple times, but Volume 2 I don't think I've read maybe once or twice. I want to go back and reread Volume 2 before I read Volume 3 and get to that. So that's something I'm hoping to get to, something I'm excited about to read. If you guys have read it or if you're excited about it, fire back, of course, on the Dayspring Discussions Facebook group, Twitter account, leave comments, all that good stuff. Okay, and the last thing about what's got my interest. Now, I always like to say that this podcast, the name of it is based off an X-Men reference because I'm a big X-Men fan. People who know me know I like X-Men, but I feel like I never talk enough X-Men. So I will say there was the X-Men event that was going on the last couple weeks, which is the Hellfire Club Gala, which is all part of the House of M new era of X-Men that we have going on by Jonathan Hickman. House of M, it started off very interesting, the whole concept of it with Moira and time travel and all that other stuff. It was very interesting. The books themselves, since then, I've not really caught a lot of my interest, to be fair. I know there are a bunch of books out there. I flip through them, I try to keep up with them, but nothing really catches my eye that much. But coming out of the Hellfire Club Gala is the newly formed actual X-Men team with Cyclops, Jean Grey, X-23, the new Wolverine, Rogue, a couple others in there. This is something that I think is more up my alley because over the years there have been a lot of X books, Excalibur, X-Force, what else is there? Generation X, there's the Martyrs, there's little Executioners, I don't know, a bunch of books, a bunch of things going on. I get it. But to me, the main X-Men book, X-Men or Uncanny X-Men, have always been my main focus and the ones I probably enjoyed the most. So the fact they're getting back to that, getting back to this group of mutants who are going out to protect the world rather than, just protect their island that they have right now, their nation that they have, I think sounds a little better. And of course, it's got some of my favorite characters like Cyclops and Jean Grey and Polaris and all that on the team. So I think I'm going to enjoy this a little bit more than I have been with all the other House of M books. At least I hope so. But we'll see about that, guys. What do you think about the new X-Men team, House of M, or anything X-Men related? Fire back, of course, on the social media groups and Gmail account. Yeah, and I will be glad to talk X-Men all day with you. All right, so got that all knocked out. So now I'm going to go to the topics, guys. So like I said before, I pick 3 topics from this last week that have been posted on the Facebook or Twitter account Dayspring Discussions sites. Just my own personal interest, of course. You guys fire back and let me know which one got you most excited, etc., etc. Let's just get into it, shall we? So, starting off, last weekend we got the premiere of Sweet Tooth on Netflix. So this is based off a DC comic book by Jeff Lemire, I believe was the writer. Now, Sweet Tooth is one of those comics that, I've said before, I grew up reading Marvel and DC comics, so that's mainly what I stick to. Every once in a while, I hear about a book that's, good or whatever, and I'll check it out. 90% of the time, it doesn't keep my interest, but there are some times that it does. A lot of what Mark Millar does is not DC or Marvel. It's in the superhero genre, a lot of it, to be honest, but it keeps my interest, and it's not one of the main two. But like I said, I mainly keep to Marvel and DC, and I know that doesn't make me a comic book connoisseur in some people's eyes, but that's just what it is. But anyway, Sweet Tooth is one of those ones where, along with Saga and Scalp, comics that I've always heard were good, that I have never gotten around to reading. And I know I kick myself for Saga. I really want to try to pick up Saga, but every time I get the chance to, I'm like, I don't know, just not in the mood. It's like kind of when I watch TV, I want to watch this new movie or this new show, but I got to be in the right mood for it, and I'm never in the right mood. So before I got around to actually reading it, this comic that's been around for years and years, Netflix got around to making a series about it. So I'm going to this fresh, again, because I've never read the comic at all, and I got to say, I finished the season a couple days ago. And I enjoyed it. I really liked it, especially at the end, the final episode, everything that went down. I'm really looking forward to a season 2, and I really hope there is a season 2 of this series. Starting off, I watched episode 1, and I thought it was okay, but I didn't love it. But as the episodes went on, I liked them more and more. You dug more into the characters. The main guy, Tom Jeopard, who is, with Gus. We got to see more and more about him, especially having to do with his family and everything. I liked that. We got the character of Bear that's along with them. Amy, the one who started the hybrid refugee area. The doctor, the doctor and his wife are interesting because, I don't know, I know he doesn't want to do horrible things to the hybrids, but he knows it's the way to save his wife. So we'll see how that all goes out. Like I said, I have not read the comic yet, so I don't know how it's going to go, and I kind of like that I'm going in fresh with all of it. I'm enjoying the series. I've heard some people, say they really like it. Some people say they haven't. It's just interesting to me. And again, it's not even in the superhero genre, which is the stuff that I usually like, but I think it's just a really sweet show in regards to seeing it through, our character of Gus. He's just so naive, which is sometimes kind of annoying. I was watching the show probably halfway through or whatever, and my daughter, who's 8 years old, comes in, and she's watching something. And for those of you who haven't seen the show yet, I'll say the part where they're burning down the house. And my daughter starts asking questions as to why they're burning down this person's house. And my wife, who is kind of watching it with me, is like, you shouldn't watch this with her. It's like, basically, it was a conversation my wife did not want to explain to my daughter at 8 years old. So she made me turn it off, and I had to watch it later. But again, I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was sweet. I got really involved as the show went on with the characters. I'm more curious for season 2. If you didn't get into it, I can see why. But I think there's such a variety. I think that there's some character in there for everyone, some storyline. I mean, the main 3 storylines that we followed throughout the season, where Gus was one of the main characters, Amy was another main character, and then you have the professor or the doctor as the other three. And those are kind of the three storylines you were following. And, they're all kind of coming together as one, slowly but surely, as we saw at the end of the season. And I enjoyed it. I didn't say I absolutely loved it, but I definitely want to see a season 2 and see where it goes. And I hope Netflix picks it up, guys. But Fireback, let me know what you think about Sweet Tooth Season 1 on Netflix. Did you finish it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you watch a couple episodes and stop? Let me know. DayspringDiscussions@gmail.com, Facebook group, and of course, Twitter. Okay, guys, moving on to our second topic for today. Last week, or this past week, we got our first trailer for the upcoming Masters of the Universe Revelation, going to premiere on Netflix on July 23rd. I believe is what it is. Now, this is produced by the legendary geek himself, Kevin Smith. It's supposed to be a sequel series to the 80s cartoons. He said, quote, "Narratively, our show is set up as the next episode in the legacy 80s animated series that aired from 1983 to 1985. This is a continuation of that story. We're playing with the original mythology and characters and revisiting and digging deeper into some of the unresolved storylines. But even if you've never watched a single episode of the show or don't know this universe at all, you can jump right into the story. It's a really classic universal action-adventure epic with growth, discovery, magic, and power. This series explores destiny in a fresh way. There's a lot of reconciling with secrets, betrayal, trust, acceptance, love, and ultimately loss." So that's kind of Kevin Smith's description of the series. Now, he did say that, the 80s cartoon was pretty cheesy and very for kids, but he says this one is going to be able to enjoy kind of with the whole family. And to me, I'm kind of comparing that to Voltron Legendary Defender on Netflix, a series which I am currently rewatching, actually. The last, month or two, Saturday mornings and Sunday morning cartoons have been me sitting in front of the TV with my cup of coffee and watching a couple episodes of Voltron Legendary Defender. Sometimes my wife and daughter will watch with me, but it's mainly just me. But I'm almost done too. I got one more season left, so I'm getting there. But when I think about that series, Voltron when I was a kid was one of my favorite 80s cartoons. But I go back and I try to watch it now, and it's just, not mature enough, and it's a little, dated, so to speak. So I'm hoping that's what Smith has done with He-Man, is updated the character with, something a little more mature, but not too mature to where, kids can't watch it, but give it a modern story, with more layers. Obviously the original material was really meant for kids to sell toys. This one I'm hoping, again, can add deeper into the characters with the mythology and, what all is going on with them. And of course, I was a He-Man fan as a child. Like I said, I grew up in the 80s. Probably the thing I watched the most, though, was The Secret of the Sword, the He-Man and She-Ra movie, which is the movie of how, She-Ra came to be She-Ra. I watched that probably the most out of anything as regards to He-Man and She-Ra. And it makes sense that, Netflix wants to take a chance on He-Man because they felt like they had a success with She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. I tried watching that with my daughter. I think we got about halfway through season 1 and she kind of bugged out of it a little bit. It was not my style of animated series. So once she lost interest in it, I didn't watch it. So I know there were several seasons of it, but we never got through season 1, and that's okay. It's a try. But this one's for me. This one I will be checking out no matter if my daughter wants to watch it or not. So I'm excited for it. Now, the official description says, quote, "The war for Eternia culminates in Masters of the Universe Revelation, an innovative and action-packed animated series that picks up where the iconic characters left off decades ago. After a cataclysmic battle between He-Man and Skeletor, Eternia is fractured and the Guardians of Grayskull are scattered. And after decades of secrets tore them apart, it's up to Teela to reunite the broken band of heroes and solve the mystery of the missing Sword of Power in a race against time to restore Eternia and prevent the end of the universe." Now, another cool thing about this series. Not only, of course, you have Kevin Smith, who's got a lot of geek cred himself. The cast on this is pretty good. You have, well, starting off with Tila, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire Slayer herself, is going to be voicing Tila on this. You got Chris Wood, who played Mon-El on Supergirl. He's voicing He-Man. You got Liam Cunningham from Game of Thrones as Man-at-Arms. Also from Game of Thrones, Leah Headley as Eva Lynn, and Luke Skywalker himself as Skeletor. So, great voice cast for this series. The animation, based off the trailer, I think looks pretty good. You got the old, of course, Hero, Holding On for a Hero song playing. Of course, a very pivotal 80s song. So it was very interesting that was chosen for the trailer, of course, to give people a new version of this old 80s cartoon, which I thought was very enjoyable. But yeah, I am very interested in the show, of course. Like I said, He-Man fan growing up. It looks like, again, it's going to be a little more mature. And like I said, if we can keep it within that Voltron Legendary Defender era, where it's, family programming, I think is a good middle ground. We don't want it to be too mature. We don't want it to be, too kiddie. I think, we keep it PG-13, maybe PG or so. I think we'll be okay. So, but yeah, this trailer, didn't get me more excited, but I am definitely hyped to see how this whole thing shakes out. I will say though, the old 80s cartoon, I've tried to go back and watch some of the episodes or even series that I used to watch as a child. Like I remember a couple of years ago, I went back and tried to watch Captain Planet. I couldn't really get into it, but my daughter seemed to like it too. But there were other shows like Thundercats. Thundercats was my favorite show growing up as a kid, and I just can't watch it. It's just, it's too kiddie-ish, it's too corny, it's too 80s. Cannot do it anymore. But the updated versions are nice. They had the Thundercats, they did, I think it was 2010, maybe 2012. They did an updated Thundercats, which was okay. I don't think it still really held my interest a lot, but it was okay. And then same thing with He-Man. Since the 80s, they tried to update He-Man several times. They did one, I believe it was early 90s maybe, where it was like more of a space He-Man. Didn't like him. But I believe in the early 2000s, they did another version of He-Man on Cartoon Network, which was actually pretty decent. I remember the three-part origin story is actually pretty good. You can probably find it on YouTube, because I think that's the last place where I watched it. Go watch at least the three-part origin. That's pretty good. I don't remember watching any more else of that, but I might go back and just maybe skim through that series before I watch this one. I don't plan on watching the 80s series at all, unless I go back and watch Secret of the Sword again, because that rules. But anyway, Master of the Universe, Revelation. Guys planning on watching? Are you not planning on watching? Let me know. Fire back, of course, and let's discuss it. All right, guys, and the last topic for today. James Wan, director of the Aquaman movie, posted on Instagram this week the title for Aquaman 2, and it will be Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Ooh, yeah. So that was, kind of big news that we finally got a title for the next Aquaman film. My nickname is Aquaman a lot of times in life, just because I'm a big swimmer and also I like superheroes. So growing up, that was my nickname. People still call me that too. So I have an affinity for Aquaman. Being a lover of the sea myself, I like Aquaman. The Aquaman movie with Jason Momoa and Amber Heard, Patrick Wilson, all them, I enjoyed it. It wasn't the Aquaman that I wanted, because I always say Jason Momoa, I understand why they cast Jason Momoa, okay? Because for many, many years, Aquaman has had this stigma about him as being a lame superhero who can only do stuff in the water. Totally understandable. So if you're going to make a movie about Aquaman and actually get people excited about it, you need to let go of that stigma. So what they did was they got the actual opposite kind of person that you think of when you think of Aquaman. Blonde hair, clean shaven, orange shirt, whatever, Aquaman. So they went out and got this long hair, bearded, buff, tattoo guy that looks exactly opposite of what people's image of Aquaman is. Understandable. I totally get it. To me, you could have gone a different way with it and still been okay. I enjoyed the Aquaman movie, mainly because it was an Aquaman movie. Had some laughs. I had fun with it. Were there things as an Aquaman fan I much rather would have seen as far as casting and story? Yes, but I like it. Okay, out of the DCU films, I enjoy it probably number 2 or 3. And that's really what it comes down to. So they're coming back for number 2 here, and again, I'm not excited, like overwhelmed about it, but we're making another Aquaman movie. Okay, that's cool. I don't know what else to say about it. The Lost Kingdom. I didn't really look up what that was, if there was any reference to anything called the Lost Kingdom. The only thing off the top of my head that I can think of was the Lost Kingdom, which was the place where Mara and her father came from, I thought, was considered the Lost Kingdom of Atlantis or something, maybe. I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. I'm probably wrong because, like I said, when it comes to Aquaman, my favorite stuff have been, surprise, surprise, the 4 volumes that Jeff Johns did. And I've tried to keep up with other stuff. The current stuff isn't too bad. I forget who's writing it, but with Mara and Arthur having a kid, a daughter, that's pretty decent stuff, actually. So I've been, keeping up with it. Again, Aquaman's one of those ones that I'll flip through, but I'm not always interested in reading. But I'll keep up with what's going on, like a lot of books. So anyway, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. If you guys know what they're referring to, maybe in the comic books, fire back on the social media groups or even on the Gmail account. Let me know, because again, I didn't look it up to see exactly what it meant. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something different. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see, guys. But if you are excited for this Aquaman sequel, let me know. If you're not excited, if you didn't like the first one, any and all comments are welcome, as long as they're not, what I want to say, derogatory, maybe? Is that the word I'm looking for? Yeah, that might be the word I'm looking for. But anyway, guys, that's it for me today. Fire back, of course, the Dayspring Discussions Gmail account, as well as the Facebook group, the Twitter account. It's all there to talk and discuss. Post what you want, and then, of course, I will be here to say my piece. You can say yours online, and we can have a nice, friendly discussion amongst ourselves in the geek culture. But that is it for me today. Now, hopefully, I will save this, because I didn't save last week's when I recorded it, so I didn't have a show last week. So I do apologize about that, but I will make sure I will save this, get this posted, and you guys can enjoy it. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Go out, enjoy your lives, enjoy your week, and until next time, may the force be with us all.